Friends, Jersey Maniac, smash that like and subscribe button. So I'm sitting around Saturday in the afternoon, and I get a DM from Chaz the Guru, and it said something along the lines of, dude, did you see the latest fucking roundtable with the Star Wars team? And like I deflated. Like it's just like, oh, there's another one of those. Because I have to watch them. Because it like the fucking like train crash, whatever it is, like it's just so horrific that I have to see how bad it is. And I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. And then either the next day or a few hours later, Meister Shake messages me roughly the same thing, like, dude, you have to make a video on the latest roundtable. And it's like, oh, God. Fine. So, I haven't seen it yet. I figured I would just do it this way. So, it's right here, but I'm not going to turn the camera or whatever. Like, it'll just play, you can hear it, and we'll break it all down. So you might be asking, why would you bother to listen to this shit that you know you're going to hate? And I mean, I don't know. The answer, I guess, is I feel as though it is important that Hasbro is called out on their bullshit. Because I think that there are way too many people that hear whatever lies and nonsense these two are going to say and just accept it as truth. And yeah, no, it isn't. And the worst part is, like, of all the teams, Star Wars is by far the worst in interviews. So when talking to the Legends team, what typically happens when we get good information is they get defensive, and then they'll kind of spill more than maybe they plan to. They did it with Shardamus, they did it with Boog one year. Like it's a thing that happens. So they're worth watching. The Joe team, like, since they actually like the products that they're making, and we all genuinely like them for making these great products, like they give out too much information just out of excitement. Like, you never know what you're going to hear. Any post Emily makes, like, you have to read it. Like one of the last posts she makes, she's like, oh yeah, and Doc is going to be in classified. And it's like, well, that's fucking great. Thank you, Emily. Meanwhile, from the Legends team, we're on fucking number 2 of picks leading somewhere, probably to the Haslab, but, it's been multiple days, 2 pictures, and they don't show shit. They don't show shit. I'm not entertained, impressed, or anything. I'm annoyed. So, Transformers team, too. Like, they genuinely seem to like their products, so you never know what they're going to say. I'm not as familiar with them because I don't collect that line. But again, everyone who does collect it is genuinely pretty happy. So, they're another great team. Star Wars is the worst. Like, you can't tell which of them knows one lick of shit about Star Wars. Doesn't seem like any of them do. And Patrick and Jing especially, they're brutal. So, I mean, again, so I haven't seen it. I'm sure it's going to be brutal, but let's get into it, and we'll show you what I'm talking about here.
A little bit already, but my name is Jing. I'm on the brand side for Hasbro.
And I'm Chris. Good to see you guys again.
Yeah, it's always just good to just set the stage. Yeah. But yeah, so we can dive right in. We're so excited that obviously we saw the first 2 episodes.
The amount of times this woman is going to say that she's excited about something, every one of them might set a new record. She's not actually excited about fucking shit, because obviously she hates Star Wars, hates us, and doesn't know shit. She is all about whatever bonus she gets for how deeply they can rip us off. But sure, you're excited, Jing. Please, tell me more that you're excited.
Of Ahsoka, so now we've caught up to Rebels timeline, and it's going to be amazing. We're excited to see what else is there to come.
Please enter a conference ID followed by pound.
Chris,
unprofessional.
Someone message Chris to go on mute because we can hear him, but he can't hear us.
I just muted him.
Oh, okay, great. You have the power. You have the power. All right, so we'll dive right in. We'll go through some of the questions quickly, and then we'll circle back to, Chris and whenever he comes back.
Hopefully the questions are at least good this time. A lot of the times the questions are bad. Bosk's Bounty, who posted this video, is typically pretty good. So,
and is able to hear us. So why don't we get started with Tim, Bosk Bounty?
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me along again. Hi, Chris, how are you?
Good.
First of all, my first question is, first of all, just say congratulations on the Ghost. It looks to be a fantastic product. Can't wait to get it. And it is a question about the figures and what comes with it. So basically, loads of collectors have noticed the absence... Loads of collectors have noticed the absence of Sabine and Chopper from the whole setup of the Haslab Ghost, including the unlocks. Is there a way that collectors can put...
but Sabine is a deluxe figure, so it is coming.
Collectors' mind at rest that we will be able to get Sabine and Chopper in their Season 4 outfits or attire on those mural card backs some way, whether that be inside the part.
So behind him on the wall, he's got a lot of carded shit. So, I don't blame him for asking the question. It's fine. I could not possibly care any less about the cards. I only care for Chaz because he doesn't even like vintage collection figures themselves. He's really collecting them for the fucking cards. Like, he's an art collector just disguised as an action figure collector. So I always fuck with him. I'm like, if this guy sent him the picture, this card sucks, or like, this card is good, Anyway.
Part of the Haslab at a later date if we manage to smash through the tiers, or as a way of outside of the Haslab, perhaps. Because obviously we know that we're getting Sabine in the main line, but we will be missing her on that mural card back, and we want the whole set.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to make these. I get that you want to put the collectors' minds to rest and everything, but of course they're going to make them.
Great question. And I know that that's a question that the fan community has been asking quite a lot about. So the first question of our first round table, and we do have like a surprise, pipeline, if you will, just to quickly let you guys know. So as you mentioned, we recognize that there's a few crew members that are missing with that exclusive mural art collection that fans have really taken to and we think, is wonderful. And we didn't want to lock those characters behind like higher tiers in the Haslab. So
lie. Hasbro loves hostage figures. Loves them. You didn't want to lock it like, oh, look, we're going to do you a favor. We didn't want to lock them behind. Bullshit!
If we hit all three tiers, which, great, we're at Ezra, we have Kanan at 14, and then...
Where are we with this right now? Where are we? Should have looked at this before I started this video. My bad. 11,761 with how many days? With 9 days left to go. 9 days, 1 hour, and 58 minutes. So we're almost at 8 days. 11,761. 11,761 minus 11,761. 5,239 more to get this all the way unlocked in 8 days. Is that doable? There is always a late rush. That's a lot, though.
Zeb at 17, you'll be able to complete the mural collection of the Ghost Crew from the Rebels, that season 4 appearance. And they will be as a separate purchase and offering for you guys. So it just, like you mentioned, gives you a chance to complete the crew, because we know how important that is to everyone to have that card back collection.
Someone's going to ask what happens to the figures if they don't get unlocked.
So those 2 additional figures, like I said, Sabine and Chopper, will be outside of the Haslab as a separate purchase. And we really just didn't want to lock it behind the Haslab itself. So that's hopefully great news and exciting news. I know fans just wanted to make sure that that was on our mind. And for us, it makes sense. If you unlock Zeb, then we want to make sure you can complete the crew.
Great. That's great news. Thank you.
Great. Cool. Do we have Dan? Dan, can you hear us?
How are you not ready for this? Like, it's...
You might have just dropped and come back. Dan, did you just call back in?
We can move on, and then we'll circle back. Steve.
All right. So, with the new Black Series, Sabine and Hera, based on Star Wars Ahsoka, the thigh rotation has been removed, relying solely on the rotation joint above the knee. What was the thinking on redesigning the leg this?
I already like Steve. Great question, Steve. Let's hear the lie.
Much. Is this going to continue on all Black Series figures going forward? And will we see that applied to vintage collection as well? So.
Well,
Great question.
I would say that, articulation in general is just something that evolves over time. This particular one on these characters, if you think about the way a human leg moves, you can't really spin your leg around that way anyway. And the team made sure that at the hip that there's a little more articulation there, so you get about 20 degrees.
The leg doesn't spin around all, because that is why thigh swivels are in action figures, right? So that we can spin the leg entirely around, not just to get them in better poses. No. In fact, collectors are often saying with lines, they're like, this line has just too much articulation. Like, I can hit way too many great poses. You guys need to cut out articulate. What is the fucking reality of what collectors want? They're always looking for more, always looking for better. You cut it out and say that, like, what did he even fucking say? Hold on a second.
Much. Is this going to continue on all Black Series figures going forward? And will we see that applied to vintage collection as well? So.
Well, I would say that, articulation in general is just something that evolves over time.
Yeah, evolves over time. Again, what line has been successful ever that has dropped articulation? None.
This particular one on these characters, if you think about the way a human leg moves, you can't really spin your leg around that way anyway. And the team made sure that at the hip that there's a little more articulation there, so you get about 20 degrees on the hip with the Black Series figures now. There's no plans to change anything on TVC currently. That TVC is a line that benefits a lot from the ability to do partial tools and create new characters that way. So no plans to do that there. But it's just a step that let us address the details of those characters.
Okay. So the truth is in there. You just have to listen. So we reuse a lot of parts in vintage collections, so it's not necessary. So what's the real reason for that? Just that getting rid of that one break in the figure because it's 2 parts. Like, it's not now the leg piece is 1 part in one mold instead of 2 pieces in a mold that they have to then put together. So, of course, it's the obvious answer to anyone who pays attention. As soon as this happened, it was, wow, they're cheapening out Black Series even more than they already are. Like, the line is already 75% repaints and re-releases, and that's not enough. No. Now the new figures coming out, we have to have less articulation, But it's for our benefit because the leg doesn't really have to spit. Fuck you.
Is better, and instead of having cylinder legs on those characters, they've got more realistic legs, and the details of their outfits and stuff are better represented.
Thank you.
Bullshit.
Cool. All right, Chris, are you on? Okay. Dan, are you back on? Can you hear us?
I am here, yes. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we'll circle back to you. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for your patience as I enjoy the technology issues. I'm blaming Chopper on that one. I'm going to mix up a little bit. So what happens with the vintage tier versions of characters for Haslab projects if they do not get funded? Are they redesigned?
Told you.
Or do they go into a black hole somewhere?
Yeah, so for those versions of those vintage collection tiers, like for the Haslab, we announced it. They are part of this Haslab, and we'd love to see them unlocked. I think, we're on a great path. We've already unlocked Ezra, and we certainly hope they get funded. So that is, like we announced, exclusive to the Haslab, and we'd love to see us get there and rally behind it. Okay.
So, what happens to the figures? The answer is, well, we really like to see them unlocked. We did announce that, so there's no answer there whatsoever. Oh, we really like to see them unlocked. Oh my God.
Chris, are you back?
I am, if I'm the only Chris on the call.
Then... Other than Chris, right? Yes.
Okay.
Chris Sports, yes.
Yes, so thanks for having me. The Ahsoka TV series just launched on Disney Plus, and some of the Target stores have set up an end cap with Ahsoka-specific products like role-playing items, and there's a taller Ahsoka figure to purchase. But collectibles like retro vintage collection Black Series figures are nowhere to be found based on the TV series.
They're in Canada.
We only have some of the pre-orders. Could you talk a little bit about what the challenges are for you getting figures out to collectors in time for a TV show launch?
That's funny. So can you talk about the challenges? The real question being asked here is, how are you this incompetent, and how is there not shit on the shelves? Especially when you look at this wave, what did they make? So Ahsoka's a straight re-release. Nothing. The HK is a repaint with maybe a new cape, maybe. So so far they've made one new piece, and it's a soft good. Who else is in there? Morgan is not going to be all new. I guarantee her lower half is going to be reused. So now they've made a couple pieces, an upper torso and a cape. Sabine and Ezra are going to be all new. And Chopper's straight re-release. So they made 2.5 figures and a cape and still can't get them out on time. I mean, whatever this answer is, it's going to be reasonable, right? Sure. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, in general, we always aim to get things out in time for a show. And I do feel like we've gotten better.
Where's your Black Series Black Chrysanthemum? Because they aim to get things out in time for a show. Do you have yours? I have mine. Is he over there? No, he's not there. No. But yeah, you're doing well with the aiming.
We've gotten closer and closer as we've, gone through the COVID years. And so I would say
We'll blame COVID for this too. Your Ahsoka figures are, it's getting better, but the COVID stuff is still, okay.
Those items, you'll probably see them start trickling in really soon now. And challenges.
You'll probably see them trickle in. Like she doesn't know that they already leaked and are sold on eBay to her in Canada. Sure.
Your point, like in general, it's just part of the development process. It's part of logistics. There's so many things that go into getting an item on shelf.
So many.
And that can always impact last minute or anything along those lines. So that is always something we try to work with the retailers on. And
last minute changes were the reason why this wave that's only 2.5 new sculpts is not on shelf.
Try to work ourselves on to get things in time. So we'll continue to work on it. It's always a goal.
Continue to work on it. Just like in one of these, she said, we're working closely with retailers to not have your Walmart figures shipped in fucking bubble mailers. That was about, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, with multiple more figures, of course, shipped in the fucking bubble mailers. So sure, you're doing well. Your word is so good, Jing. We can believe everything you say.
And hopefully, you know, that's something that will only continue to improve in the future.
Okay, sure.
Thanks.
Great. All right, going back up, Tim.
Yeah, not such a positive question this time. So the recent wave of vintage collection with Moff Jajerod included in that wave, mine actually arrived with what I call the Ring of Death, which is where the bubble has imprinted on the card back on the opposite side, if you like. Are you aware of this problem that's resurfaced? Because it did happen like maybe 3 or 4 waves ago around the...
So he is very much like an in-package or an in-box collector. And yeah, these are going to be all of his questions, which is fine. If that's your thing, it's cool.
Time of Boba Fett Morak, that figure was particularly bad. And then it went away, and now it's come back. So are you aware of it, first off? And two, you know, what...
They're not aware of it.
Can you do about it? Can you pack them better, make the shipping boxes bigger or something now that you've got that thicker card back? And also, are you aware of the incorrect capitalization of the middle J for Moff Jajerod? These are the important...
Well, that, Chris went.
questions, Chris.
I love the attention to detail.
Yeah, I'll take the Jajerod question real quick. We're aware of this spelling mistake. It got caught late enough in the process that the figures are done and out there now. But if it's flagged that it's already been changed, so that if we ever do rerun that particular figure, the update will happen.
Why the fuck would you rerun that figure? You think that's going to be a top seller, dude? Come on.
That's just one of those ones that happens every once in a while. It's a miss. It's not great, but it
it's not
feels
great.
Very authentic to me. So, personally, I mean, it's not something we want to happen, but it does, and
it's at least a fair answer. It's an honest mistake, and like, someone didn't pay attention. Like, it happens. It's fine.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Well, thank you to the fans who paid attention. So we now know. Okay, so to answer your first question, which I think is really important, I will say that this has been brought up to us in the past, and I've mentioned it in the past that like we brought it back to our QA team, and they actively looked into it, and they did, which I think might be, you know, some of the changes you were seeing. But obviously, if it came back, we continued to look into it. So I can tell you that it is something that we actively discussed. We had emails about it even this week. So it's something that we are looking to correct, and we're going to actively look.
Had emails about it just this week. An old issue comes back, and this is basically the best they can do. Like, they just trade some emails about it. Great.
Into it to not have that happen in the future is something we'll work towards. So if there's more we can share in the future, we'll definitely will, but we are looking into it.
Yeah, just a quick suggestion. I think the 40th anniversary Black Series figures on those card backs came with like a piece of tissue paper in between each one. Maybe that's something that you could do, possibly.
Yeah, we've looked at and are continuing to look at a lot of different options. Just doing tissue paper doesn't solve the problem. It can actually make it worse. So if you don't do anything else, so we're looking at a bunch of ways to address. So trust us when we say we're on it, and we don't want it to happen at all. So we're trying to fix it.
Yeah, that is facts. But yes, thank you for continuing to put it on our radar. It never left, and it will continue to be there until we resolve it. Okay, all right, moving on, Steve. From the Force Guide.
Yes, the last few years, Hasbro evolved some joints on vintage collection exceptionally well. Ball jointed hips are a favorite, rocker ankles are becoming the norm, and hinged hands look so much better now. Has it been challenging engineering and manufacturing these small-sized parts at Hasbro's high quality and safety standards?
This is a bad question. Like, who cares? If something is done properly, why would you say, how are you doing it properly? Like, whatever this answer is, no one cares. Ay, ay, ay.
Yes, it's always challenging, but that's what we do, and we love those sort of challenges. It's something our team's pretty proud of, how we address a lot of that stuff, and we're always trying to evolve it too. So we're excited to hold on to some of that articulation for new vintage figures. The tricky thing comes in, you can't exactly apply that to an older figure without completely redoing that figure sometimes. So when we have the opportunities, we go back in and we, like, barbell hips are a good example. We try and update things as we can, as the dollars are there and the figure is appropriate for it to update things like the barbell hips. So
that's the problem. The dollars are very rarely there.
And we're prioritizing that sort of thing for newer figures that we do. So we're not looking to change articulation across the board and go back and redo every vintage collection figure we've ever done. But as we do more, we'll continue to evolve that stuff.
I'll tell you, any vintage collection figure that has like the 5-point articulation legs where it's just forward and not back, redo it, because it's not even a vintage collection figure. You just re-released an old figure from an old line and called it vintage collection. It isn't. Come on. Come on. Oh boy, we're spinning. Oh, because we're going to hit a commercial probably. Oh boy. Now I'm having technical difficulties. I just fucking yelled at that guy before, saying, how are you not ready for this? Fuck. What is the problem? Alright, I'm gonna reload the whole fucking page, see if that helps.
Negative energy just makes me stronger. We will not retreat. This band.
Wow, that's loud.
Meantime, we can definitely get started. I'll do a quick round of intro.
To change articulation across the board and go back and redo every vintage collection figure we've
Haslab Ghost, because it's one of the most amazing. Yes, definitely. Okay, awesome. And thanks again, everybody, for your time and for just giving us noise. This is such a cool opportunity that I appreciate. I wanted to circle back on the Haslab Ghost because it's one of the most amazing, wonderful things I think that Hasbro's ever done, which is saying a lot. I'd love to know kind of the rationale behind not including a full 3 3/4 inch scale chopper. I'm assuming it's probably just a scale thing because the Ghost would be even larger, but just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I think you might not have been on the call.
I was going to say, they already answered this.
Jing did get to pipeline reveal for you guys today that as a thing, if we reach the full 17,000 and get Zeb unlocked, we pipeline today that we will be doing a version of Sabine and Chopper outside of the Haslab on those card backs. So.
Oh, cool. No, I did not know that. Thank you so much.
I thought you might have missed that. So, but that kind of goes hand in hand with your question here, because we wanted to address those out there, but also Chopper's part of the Phantom 2. In the show, we see him there, but like you indicated, because of the scale of the ship and the adjustments we had to make for that, Chopper, a regular size Chopper that would have been fully in scale with the TBC figures, would have been too big to look right there. So we did a scaled down version of Chopper in there. So
that's not good. Like that answer, that's not good. Like you're saying that the Phantom we're giving you, and I mean, you just have to look at it to see that it's true, but you're saying the Phantom we're giving you is not properly scaled. That's not a very good selling point for buying this Ghost. You know?
That's really the reason, is just to make him look appropriate for the ship, he had to be smaller, so, and instead of doing a full tiny figure, it just made sense to do his head.
So you basically hit the nail on the head.
Yep.
But thank you for reiterating the pipeline. I think that's something that we're really excited to share with you guys.
Excited again.
Okay, Galactic Figures.
Totally.
Chris.
Okay. It's the third time that Jabba the Hutt is going to be released in the Black Series line, and it's the third time that the figure is going to be somewhat incomplete without the dais for him to sit on. Are there plans to release his throne individually so collectors can complete the display? And why not release the full set like you're doing for 3 3/4 inch?
Indeed.
Black Series line?
Why indeed?
Well, it's really about the price. The throne for the Black Series Jabba would be so expensive to do just because of the sheer size of it, and there are no plans right now to release that individually. We looked at doing it, but the price was just driving so high. We thought that was going to be unfair to fans, especially with that figure, the Jabba figure, having been out there previously. There's a lot of aftermarket demand for him, and a lot of people who missed out on the opportunity to get him the first time. So we wanted to make sure he...
Lie. It's actually not even worth that much. So let's show how much of a lie this is. Black Series Jabba. Filter. Show more. Sold items. The San Diego Comic-Con version went for a whopping $149.99. The regular version went in box for $55. Loose, $26. 35, 24. Yeah, lots of aftermarket demand. It's worth a ton, huh? You fucking break, dude.
He was available and not overly priced for everybody who hasn't gotten him.
26 is rough on eBay.
Thank you for the honesty. I appreciate it.
Real rough.
Yeah.
Most collectors can't afford $26, right? Like, it's brutal. Whew. When your prices are $24.99. He's lying worse than Jing this time.
All right, Box Bounty, Tim.
Oh, brutal.
Sorry.
No worries.
I was just typing this up. Sorry. The carded Ezra figure that is included in the Haslab seems to have a similar amount of accessories as the deluxe Sabine Wren.
Sure does.
Why was it necessary to put Sabine in a windowless box? There is also a concern that 3.75-inch TVC figure is $3 more than its 6-inch counterpart. We know in the past that 6-inch figures have included creatures such as Babu Frick at no extra cost.
Well, for one, it's
good stuff.
Not necessarily necessary that Sabine go in a windowless box, but because of trying to differentiate things at retail for deluxe figures versus mainline or single carded figures.
Right. So it's important for retail that we have deluxe figures, like not for anything else. Like, we know we're ripping you off, but hey, retail wants to rip you off too, so we let them get in on the action. Okay, that's nice.
Normal stuff. It's a nice visual way to differentiate that and to celebrate the accessories that do come in those, through the dioramas on the front and the photography, and we feel like that's a nice kind of homage to some of the stuff that Kenner did back in the day. It's not as extravagant as mini rig packages, but it's in the flavor of that sort of thing. So we like doing that with the windowless box. Accessory wise, and for the Haslab, Ezra just wanting to maintain that card back.
He said celebrate the accessories. That's what he said. Do you celebrate your accessories when you get them? I can't say I ever have. Next time I get a figure and, I pull the gun out, I'll invite, 14 friends over and we'll have a little party, to celebrate. that they included fucking accessories. Jesus.
Look, of the mural card backs through there.
Oh,
and then
my God.
For Ezra, for that mural card back, look, he's got the helmet, he's got a Loth cat that are both important to him in that story, and those felt like they made sense there. It's a little bit of a trick to cram those into a normal blister.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it'll probably, I would guess, be a little bit deeper of a blister on that particular one, just because of those accessories. But that's why.
Okay. Thank you.
Did I get all everything you asked there?
Well, it's it's just more of the price of these TVC figures now. When you're talking about a deluxe box.
The price of the TVC deluxe figures is insane. There is not one that is justifiable at the cost they have sold them at. We are talking about a fucking figure that big. $27.99. No justification. So whatever this answer is, it's bullshit.
When it's going above the price of a 6-inch figure, then it's it's a bit disheartening for considering they're smaller in scale and what have you.
Yeah. We feel the same pain. The issue that we come up with against a lot on these things is, and we've talked about this before, is deco, and the cost of deco has gone up more on figures than other things. So on a figure like Sabine that does have a lot of deco, for a mainline release of her where we're having to get her out with other figures, she's just going to be a higher price thing. And it's unfortunate that sometimes the pieces and the assembly labor and all that stuff, we've talked about that.
Yeah, of course we have.
Cost. Everything seems to drive cost, and sometimes you look at a figure that you expect to be kind of more standard, and for whatever reason, all those pieces...
For whatever reason, all the paint, all the deco. Meanwhile, you're re-releasing and reusing how much other shit for the rest of the figures that you're not charging less for. No, you're charging just the same amount. So, fuck everything about this nonsense. They're like, oh, we've said this before. Sure, you lied about it the first time too, dickhead.
Puzzle pieces stack up and you get a giant Jenga tower of cost. So, and that's why we've prioritized some figures going into deluxe to really do them the way that they deserve, to get all that detail and that sort of stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, I think it's Steve, right? The Force Guide. We were in a little out of order with all the technical issues, but Steve, I think you're on a call.
Okay. Collectors are somewhat aware of what goes into the cost of each Star Wars toys. The license, design, tooling, manufacture, deco, paint, assembly, packaging, shipping.
I like this question so far. I like this guy.
And distribution to retailers. Sure, some other stuff is missed in there. Which of these are the biggest factors on Hasbro Star Wars price tags today? Kind of fits into what we were just talking about.
I love this question. Oh, they're both smiling because they're both like, well, we can't answer this properly.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
It is exactly some of that stuff I was just talking about. Like I said, deco, because we've been having these conversations internally too, deco has gone up more than other things. Everything has been going up.
Why? What does that even mean? Deco has gone up? What? Is he suggesting that Star Wars characters now have more deco on them than they did in the 70s and the 90s? No, they don't. Who are you kidding?
In cost, plastic material, labor rates, all that sort of thing. But deco has actually outpaced the other things in its cost. So that's one that we're looking at.
So no, he's talking about cost of deco. So this I have to look up. This I need to research this. I want to know what exactly in the Chinese factories, who are paying their people obviously right next to nothing. This is why Hasbro makes the shit over there to begin with. I want to know why deco has gone up? Love to know. Because I'm going to call that bullshit. I don't think it has at all, and they're just using it as an excuse. But I can't back that up. I will try to find out.
Ways to address how we can still do as much detail as we want to on a vintage collection figure, what we can save and prioritize things that way. I mean, it's stuff that's always happened with the line and with figures in general as we move in through the years and evolve and try and hold price and where those compromises are. We don't want to take price up. Do we have to take features down, or not features, but something down?
That's where the thigh swivel leaving comes in. You know, can't keep it the same. It's too much. Like we gotta take shit out, save more money, make more profit, pay more dividends.
Like, we don't want to sacrifice anywhere.
Sure you don't.
But at a certain point, you're on the other side of the teeter-totter. So, and that's just what it is dealing with those sort of things and balancing that. I mean, if we could do $2 figures and have them fully decoed, we would do it.
No, you wouldn't.
Because
Lie.
everybody would buy them, but it's just not possible.
Sure. Okay, bud.
Steve, I do appreciate you listing out, like, you've obviously thought into what goes into a figure and listing out everything that, you know, we deal with on making
Steve's
sure
not
that
going to
we
be
get the
invited
product
back.
out to you. What Chris is sharing here, honestly, is just being, like, really transparent with you guys.
Oh,
Deco
always so
has been
transparent.
something we've talked about in the past, but it's continued to increase in cost versus other things. And Deco begets, like, extra labor, too. So it's just, like, something that we're just definitely always keeping an eye on.
I would love to know. So would everybody. And hopefully someone can get this out of somebody. Like, I want to know exactly how much it costs to run 100,000 Dark Troopers from start to finish, from deco, assembly, the mold, everything. I want to know how much it costs Hasbro. Then we multiply that by however much the retailers are paying for it, because it's not the $27.99. You have to imagine that it's closer to somewhere between 14 and 18, you would say, and that's how much Hasbro gets paid from, like, Target and Walmart and Amazon probably. Then we can find out, well, no, because we still don't know how much Entertainment Earth is paying to then distribute it to all the people, because the cost of the stores is always also lower than we pay. But the bottom line, everyone would love to know exactly how much is made by Hasbro from just one figure, from one brand new fully tooled figure. I guarantee you that we would all shit ourselves and just, like, with just how bad they are ripping us off by doing the repaints, the re-releases, the penny pinching with reuse. Just, there wouldn't be a clean pair of underwear in any collector's house if we found this out. I really hope we do.
And for sure. And there's also differences between scale. I know we constantly compare Black Series versus vintage, but even deco across the scales cost different. So for sure, for us, like Chris said, if we could get things out $2 back, you know, in like the 90s when I used to get like $5 popsicles, like that would be amazing. But it, you know, it's something that we work and we balance, and we're in the same pain because we're all collectors. And the team is really passionate about it as well.
Oh, so passionate.
So it's being a little bit more transparent with you guys on what we're seeing on our side.
Always transparent.
Yeah, and like Jing said, I mean, it's great when you guys are...
You want to be transparent, Jing? Tell me what I just asked for. How much does your company make off one fully tooled figure? How much do you make off a repaint? You answer that, then I'll believe you're being transparent.
Asking questions that are listing things like tooling and manufacturing concerns, because it tells us that you guys do... that you're paying attention, that you guys understand that there are a lot of factors here, and we're having the...
But the factor that they left off was Hasbro's just immense greed, just left off. So, and I don't blame the guy. Like, wouldn't say like if he included that in the list, like tooling, deco, your greed, like he can't do that. So sure, but it's a factor. It's a big factor.
These conversations every day, trying to drive to a better product at a more efficient cost, because it's for us, the best thing in the world is if we're selling a ton of product to you guys and making it nice. That's great for everybody involved, and we would just want to continue that and make sure the lines stay healthy. So.
Sure. All right.
Is anyone watching this think Black Series is healthy? Anyone? If you think Black Series is healthy, please comment so that we can have a nice, long talk about it. Okay? Please.
We appreciate that. I just want to add, inflation is up everywhere, right?
Oh, come on. Don't ruin it.
The transparency, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. Moving on. Coffee with Kenobi.
We're more than halfway through this. What have we learned? That if all the tiers are unlocked, you'll get 2 more fucking vintage collection figures on the mural cards. That's it. That's all that's been learned.
Excellent. So I want to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit. I'm imagining I'm sitting in the Hasbro Star Wars team boardroom, and so the Haslab goes live. What's it like behind the scenes for all of you? You pour your heart and soul into these. What's it like watching the campaign
Again, you have, guys, you have this platform that most of us don't have. You're going to ask questions to the Hasbro team. Why would you waste one on how they feel about one of their pre-orders going live? I don't care if it's a Haslab, a figure, a fucking talking Grogu. Who cares what this answer is? Fucking hell.
During the crowdfunding campaign.
Thank you for asking that. I wish we could bring you along with us.
She's going to say excited.
We're refreshing that page just as often. Every couple of seconds, we're refreshing that page. I will say it was thunderous roars. People were so excited. And it's not, obviously, Chris, Patrick, Emily, we are, we show our faces to you, but there are so many people that work on this, from the designers, the engineers, the sculptors, the packaging designers, finance, painters, everyone. And they work across the vehicles and the figures for the tiers. So everyone got up and cheered. There were high fives, there were fist pumps. And there was just a lot of excitement, especially given the momentum of it. So, we went out with the quick thank you because we wanted to. We really were really thankful for the support behind the community, and we thought it was amazing to see everyone rally behind this. So I'm so glad that we unlocked the first tier, and we're excited to hopefully unlock the others and really get the full crew out there.
So, if you thought that answer was going to be anything less than at least 3 or 4, we're excited. Again, you've never watched before, you have no idea what you're doing, and you have no business on this stream. None.
Yeah,
Waste.
Every once in a while at the office, when we reach a milestone 11,000, you'll hear somebody just shout it out in the office. And when that happened, I was walking to pick up my lunch, and somebody grabbed me in the hallway and went, "Look, 11,000!" And we were screenshotting phones and texting each other. So yeah.
I know, I got a text 5 seconds ago. Someone else beat you to it. They told me already. Yeah, no, we were constantly looking at that page. Okay, great. Chris Sports, Galactic figures.
Yeah, you already talked about Deco a little bit, but I'm gonna read my question anyways. The 3 3/4 Star Wars line has the 28-year history of nicely weathered figures to match the lived-in universe which George Lucas created. Why aren't Black Series figures painted with that attention to detail, with the wash on the clothing or dirt on the boots? They currently look more like Marvel superhero figures who never get dirty in the comic book.
Another great question.
Well, I mean, you heard us talk a bunch about the cost driving things and trying to be efficient with what we do, and we've prioritized doing some of that.
One of the dudes on Instagram I talk to all the time just is constantly he puts a wash on every figure he gets. Cyborg soda. Just every figure he gets washed. Look how much better this looks. And most of the time he's absolutely right. So, but it's too expensive for Hasbro to do it. They're not charging us enough for these things, the Deco, skyrocketing cost. Sure.
That weathering.
Sure.
on boots and that sort of thing, with figures where it really makes a lot of sense. I mean, Endor Rebel Trooper stuff and Boba Fett's, like, there's a lot of figures that are covered in weathering and covered in deco, but there's ones where it feels most impactful, where somebody is wearing pants and boots and kind of a normal outfit, and the weathering's not super critical to them. I feel like it's prioritizing it on those figures or not on those figures, just on an individual basis, to help control costs and to make sure we can continue to give you guys more and more stuff.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we're up to round 4 now. So, Bosk Bounty, Tim.
Thank you. If you hear any building work, I do apologise. There's drills and stuff going on. So with the 3.75-inch scale being all about world building, it was very pleasing to see items such as a newly tooled Massif and obviously the throne room set and everything, which is amazing this year. Are you happy with how these have been received? And
a fully tooled Massif that came with a figure that they then put out on a card on its own. I'm surprised this guy let it go, because usually he doesn't. Like, I wouldn't have included that in there as far as something that was a positive. Like, if you're going to release that, release it once. Like, don't waste the release of a regular figure on a figure that's out deluxe at the same time. That Tusken whatever she is not an army builder. There's one of her.
does this mean we can expect more creatures and larger playsets in the future? Without naming specific things. In general, basically.
I mean, in general, we absolutely love the fan support, and yes, they were well received, and we are absolutely thrilled about that. And obviously, if things do well, it does mean that we keep a closer eye, and we keep that.
So that job is throne room that Europe already has, and we don't right now, without Jabba in it, of course. I had looked quickly and I had saw that, one said September 15th now, because it was delayed here. Again, we have to send everything to the UK first. It's very important. All of the money is not made in America. The date of the just re-release of the Vintage Collection Jabba? Like, it's 2015 of next year. Like, when I did a podcast with Khalil last night, and we were chatting a little at the end, and he said, like, no, dude, that's 2024. I said, no, it isn't. They couldn't possibly do that. And he said, like, go look. And I was like, over a year for a re-release.
That in our consideration box. We can't promise anything in the future, as you know, but the more you guys show us that support, the more it tells us the story, especially as we plan for the future.
And why would anyone buy that Mastiff for $27.99 unless you really want that little fucking dog? I mean, because, again, the figure itself is on its own card in the main line. So this is how you're judging demand, by doing shitty things and then basing like sales off it. Like, you can't do that. That's bullshit.
Yeah. All right, Steve. Yep, thank you. The Force Guide.
We know this was touched on at Comic-Con, but for clarity's sake, why is Haslab's the Ghost branded with Star Wars Ahsoka, yet coming with Season 3 Star Wars Rebels carded figures?
Who cares?
All the sculpting likeness on Hera and Ezra are based on the actors from the upcoming live-action show, rather than the animation-inspired style.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, Ahsoka's out there, so we're really excited about that. We've seen the first episode. We're excited for what's to come.
Excited.
It made sense to do the Ghost in that new live-action show, but also paying a nod to the original crew that came with it, which is Rebels. So the benefit of Star Wars is just spans so many different entertainments, and we're bringing it all together here. And we've done that in the past where we do animated figures and we update them with live action interpretation. And we're lucky enough that with Ahsoka, where we have those references in hand, so we use that, for Hera and Ezra, since we've already seen them in the first 2 episodes, as you know. So that's how we kind of balance the two. But yeah, we would normally do a live action interpretation anyway.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about this at San Diego. The ship itself references all the live action 3D models that ILM built. So the ship itself is really based on the Ahsoka series ship. But those figures in the mural specifically, because we thought that was a super powerful message, like wanted to have that be more animated and Rebels focused to kind of bridge the 2 shows.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you. Coffee with Kenobi, Dan.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Every time after this one, I'll have to hang up because I have to run to teach a class. But I truly appreciate
this
your time.
guy's the
and
worst.
This really isn't a question for me so much as begging and pleading for a retro animated style series of figures from Star Wars Rebels.
Oh my God, retro!
Duly noted. We love when you guys have good suggestions and put them out there.
Oh yeah, those retro figures are flying off shelves, right? Look at the last post from anyone who was at Ollie's. Yeah, great suggestion though. Let's make more shit that there's no demand for. Brilliant.
Yeah, keep doing it. Give us more ideas.
Yeah,
we love it.
We did a live show and we had top 5 Haslab Star Wars Dream Wish requests, which was a lot of fun to do.
Very cool.
I have to look at this coffee with Kenobi
this is
guy.
Our last question for timing. Galactic figures, Chris.
Yeah, I guess my question also comes back to cost again, but for the Black Series Jedi figures specifically, some of the figures that you've released feel incomplete because there was no Jedi robes included, specifically Obi-Wan from Episode 1, 2, 3, Anakin Episode 3, Qui-Gon Jinn, Ayla Secura, single box of Ahsoka Tano. All those figures did not include their Jedi robes. Are there plans for accessory packs so collectors can complete those figures?
That's another great question. I would buy robes because he's right. Like, it's bullshit. Like, when you look up there, Mace has one, Plo has one, I think Kit Fisto has one, but yeah, like Qui-Gon doesn't, Sakura doesn't. Like, that's, yeah, great question.
Yeah, we've heard about this in the past and something we talk about.
And you've ignored it, right?
We currently don't have any plans for it.
Because you've ignored it, so just tell the truth.
On our mind, so if if the fan community feels like it's something they really want, we just want to hear more about it, and then we'll have to figure out the right way. Obviously,
we've talked about it here before. People have mentioned it, but we need, have the community talk about it more. Sure.
But yeah, so currently no plans for accessory packs, but good to hear what you guys are thinking and wanting.
Okay, thanks.
All right, I think that is it for timing purposes. Thank you guys so much for joining.
So what did we learn? We learned that they've ignored previous requests. We learned about 2 things. If all the tiers get unlocked for the Ghost. And that's it. I really am, like, I wonder why people keep coming back to, to doing these. Like, you always see the Boss Bounty guy, like, doing these. Like, I wonder why, because you don't get enough. Like, it's not worth it. Like, all of these that I've seen, like, it's bullshit, it's lies, it's, a misdirection, it's avoiding a good question. So what's the point? Like, I understand why they make Chris and Jing do these, because, like, really, what else are they going to do today, or whenever this was aired? Like, there's not much for them to do. So, and it makes it seem, gives the illusion that, look, Hasbro cares, we care what you think, we're doing, but no, it's not the case, because, first of all, it's always the same people. Always the same people. Like, I can see on my list here, There's 2 more. There's John Miko, who I've seen before on these, and Bantha Skull. Seen him too. So it's always the same people. The same people care about the same shit. Like, so if I was on here, I wouldn't get any of my questions answered, because how this works is you have to submit your questions before this starts, and they'll then tell you, like, yes, it's okay if you ask this question. Like, it's not, you can't go in there and say, you know, I mean, you could go off script, but then you'll really never be welcome back. They might kick you out of the stream altogether. You can't go in there and say, you know, why is the line 75% repaints? And that's what I want to know. Like, it is, like, just tell me the fucking truth. You want transparency, then tell me the truth. Don't tell me that Deco is rising. Like, tell me Lucasfilm is really ripping us off with the licensing fee or something. Just give me something that would actually make sense. Something I could believe. Because again, like, what do they do for this anniversary of Return of the Jedi? Give us a shitload of figures we already have. What's new? The Rebel Commando is new. Wicket is new. I don't even know if the other Ewok is new. He might be. I mean, and Chewbacca got a new head. And then they're going to put Chewbacca and Wicket out again in the same year. Like, so again, tell me something that makes sense. Just tell me, just say, come out and say, the bosses up top say we're not making enough money. Just whatever the truth is, that is what we would actually like to hear. Because when you look at the factual information, such as Chewbacca and Wicket getting released twice in the same year, like, they don't know that they are going just straight to clearance. There won't be one fucking order of either one, unless you're going to say that there is this litany of new collectors that came mid 2023 and are too dumb to realize that the same figure on a different card is going to be on sale on Amazon, because neither of those will sell out. They're probably on sale right now. Why not? They came out earlier in the year. Not enough demand for either one of them. There just isn't. So are you going to buy the new figure at the full price? Or worse, pre-order it. You're going to pre-order a figure right now that you could already own because the fucking box is different. Never mind that it's in the plastic-free boxes that literally everyone hates. So no. I mean, the real questions need to be like, how do you continuously put out things that you know full well are not going to sell? That's question number one. Question number two is, how is it even possible that you have considered so many credit collection figures when not any of them have sold? Like, they're on sale on GameStop right now for $7.99. The one before it, whatever it was, Moff Gideon was Best Buy. Whichever fucking one was at goddamn GameStop, like, that's on sale too, on deep clearance, still there, because no one wants it. Why don't we have more Jedi? Why isn't there a more direct avenue for more fans? Because they say this multiple times. You say, keep telling us what you want. Well, give us a more direct avenue to say what you want. Because if you expect me to believe that these two or anyone else in the Star Wars team is reading comments on a regular basis, I don't. I don't believe it for a fucking second. Because again, I'm basing it off of what they actually make. Like, what fan-requested figure has been made recently? Malgus, Malik, Sean? Sure, I'll give him that. That's 3. There's been 56 fucking Black Series figures alone this year. The other question I really want to have, and I asked it, so the AIC guys did a interview with Emily from TVC, and it's a podcast. It's a decent interview. And they always say, they always put it in their stories, do you have a question for Emily? And so, yes, I actually do. Does Black Series and Vintage Collection share a budget? Just because I want to hear them admit it, that they do. And he wrote back and he said, like, I'll try to reword this in a way that it might get answered. And he does a decent job, so go listen to it. Bottom line, yes, they share a goddamn budget. This is why both lines suck. Just pick a scale. I don't care which one. I will happily Happily. 112 sells double of 118 does. That's just plain fact. I've proven it before on YouTube. I'll do it again if you want, but it's just plain fact. I would rather them just stop making Black Series altogether and I just won't collect Star Wars than have it continue on this way where it's August 28th, there's 56 figures and I've bought maybe 12 of them. I just don't bother. Forget it. Don't bother. I don't need a line that's so boring and so bad where I'm buying an occasional figure when I'm as large of a fan of Star Wars as I am. Does that make sense? So if they can use the same budget on one line, that suggests to me that it would be far better, whichever scale they decide to go with. So just do that. Just do that. There is no point in just pussyfooting in each fucking scale. None. Maybe if they got rid of Black Series, all the Black Series collectors would go back to Vintage Collection. You never know. That's a gamble if I were them I'd be willing to take because it's so much better than just filling ollies with fucking credit collection and other bullshit that literally no one wants. And the fucking live stream is tomorrow. What are they going to show? They're going to show the rest of the fucking Ahsoka wave for Black Series that people already have in hand. Like, how are you this inept? How? You don't know that the fucking figures have already left the factory? Like, you couldn't have shown the whole wave at Comic-Con? Of course you could have. So why didn't you? Why? It makes no sense, but this is what they love to do now. They love to show a few figures, have the full case go up for pre-order, to where the store that has the pre-order available is never going to know how many sales it's actually going to get because all the figures aren't shown yet. No, this team is the worst. These fucking roundtables are the absolute worst. I understand why Hasbro do it. It just keeps up with appearances. It's like, oh, look, we're doing this great thing for the community, when really they're doing jack shit. And the people who are asking the questions, they have to know. Like, they have to know that it's worth it. They definitely know because they've submitted real questions, and the answer is no, we're not going to answer that. You can't ask that question. So they know. Maybe I'll watch these other two and see if either one of them is worth breaking down, but I doubt it. So, more nauseating shit from Hasbro Star Wars. What else is fucking new? Follow me on Instagram, JerseyManiac_collector. Peace.